as many of you know, if you follow me on Instagram, on my artist page, or even on my other ones, my artist page is Sam Lam MD, SAMLAMMD. I paint almost every day if I can, whether it's pastel, watercolor, oil, acrylic, different types of media. A lot of it is portraiture, etc. And when I paint, the thing that I look at is something called, how do I paint an accurate portrait? I use something called comparative technique. And essentially what comparative technique is, when I draw an eye, I look at, is the eye distance from the nose the same as the distance from the other eye? Does the start of the inner portion of the eye drop more or less at the lateral portion of the nostril? What is the distance of all these areas? And so when I'm dealing with a face, the goal of this is to talk about how my eye is better than a ruler. Now, do I use laser devices for hairlines? Do I use different marking pens, and I try to, or calipers to check for symmetry of removal of tissue from like the upper eyelids? Do I use calipers during a rhinoplasty? Absolutely. I believe that there is so much benefit to having a ruler. At the same time, my eye doesn't lie to me. When I look, I can see when something is crooked. When I can see something is not right, I have to make adjustments to it. And so a lot of physicians that are doing plastic surgery are all ruler-based. In other words, they're very left-brained. And I think to do good plastic surgery, you have to be both left and right-brained. You have to have a good sense of proportion innately, or been trained to do that, and you have to have good understanding of sort of classical definitions that maybe require a ruler to confirm, etc. But the goal of the podcast is really to have you understand is that artistry of understanding rules and things like that are only the beginning. They don't tell you very much, because oftentimes if you know the rules, you know how to violate them. Sometimes the rules just don't make sense. And proportion and balance are everything. There's a cohesiveness when you see a face, whether it's in the art of painting or in the art of working on a face, that the eye is just better. And so I think any of the artists that are listening to this podcast know what I'm talking about. You can even use a comparative technique and measure distances between certain features on the face or whatever you're drawing or painting, but you realize sometimes it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look like the person, or it's just not attractive, or the colors are not balanced. One stands out, or the values. In other words, one thing you just painted too dark, throws off the whole balance of the rest of the face. Balance and proportion are so vital when you're looking at something, whether that's something that a ruler can capture or not.